Hey, hot stuff. You see something you like?
I think I lost my appetite. Why are you still here?
So this is Welcome to Hell by Erica Wester. It's a really sweet, really funny little short film, and if you're an animation fan, then chances are you've already watched it at least once. I could say a lot of good things about Wester's movie, but instead I'm going to focus on the one thing that doesn't really work here, and that a lot of animators tend to overlook: the sound.
Would you look at this place? It's a freaking mess!
Specifically, I'm talking about creating a sense of space and environment using audio. Animation is a unique filmmaking medium in that you never have a camera sound to work off of. You have to create the entire soundscape from scratch. And as such, it's really easy to overlook camera position and the spatiality of the location when you're creating Foley. The result is a lot of animated films, especially by independent or student filmmakers, that sound canned, as if the sound and the image don't quite match up. To illustrate what I'm talking about, let's hear another excerpt from Welcome to Hell. See how unnatural this sounds? You might think that something's wrong with the sound effect, but the real problem is that there's no sense of space. We're watching the character dig from about 30 or 40 feet away, but it sounds like it's happening right next to us. Remember that sound changes depending on where it's created and where the listener, in this case, the camera, is situated when they hear it. It doesn't feel right when the action sounds the same here and here.
This is suck.
It's easy to forget about the vantage point or the spatial environment when you're creating an animated soundscape because technically neither one exists. After all, this is just a drawing, it's not a real location, and these sounds didn't actually originate from the action you're looking at. But it's our job as filmmakers to create that illusion, to build a world that feels and sounds real, and we do that by paying attention to these details. For contrast, let's watch this clip from Afro Samurai Resurrection. Notice how the audio pulls in and out with the camera and pans with the character's movement. This battle sounds much quieter here, as opposed to here, and when someone falls to the ground off camera, we hear it slightly muted in the left speaker. Thus, we're given a sense of the space. Compare that to this moment where the character drags a body from screen left to screen right, but the audio stays put. It just sounds like it was recorded in a studio. Even though the action here is really over the top, this bridge and the people on it feel so much more tangible and alive. You might think that this is just an issue of budget. After all, the people working on Afro Samurai had a lot more money to spend on sound mixing than a college student making her thesis film. But really, these kinds of touches don't cost any extra money, it's just a matter of attention to detail. In fact, it's an issue that a lot of very expensive animated films have, and people are starting to catch on to it.
I kinda wish they put a bit more effort into the audio mixing and editing for the dialogue. Every single character sounds the exact same the entire movie, no matter what room or environment they're in, no matter how far away from the camera they are, etc. Their volumes never change, and it all just sounds so fake.
But sound doesn't just change depending on where it's happening in relation to the camera. You should also pay attention to the environment where it's being created. For instance, people talking in a small diner.
Hey, it's okay, pal. We can still save this. Why don't we just bag these up to go and...
should sound different from people talking in a cavernous, echoing cathedral.
I'm waiting, Captain.
I'm sorry, sir. She claimed sanctuary. There's nothing I can do.
This creates a feeling of place in an animated scene, and transforms what would otherwise just be moving drawings into a relatable world. There are a lot of ways to create this sense of acoustic environment. Wes Anderson, for example, recorded all of the sounds for Fantastic Mr. Fox on location.
Scared?
No. Oh, I have a phobia of them. Well, I have a thing about thunder. Why? That's stupid.
This is a bit extreme, though. Little tweaks like, say, a low-pass filter for sound happening behind a wall can really make the difference. Reverb is also a great way to create a sense of scale and distance between characters,
You speak of justice, yet you are cruel to those most in need of your help.
or to sell a gag. There's an old saying, tragedy is a close-up, comedy is a long shot. Well, the same applies to sound.
I'm sorry, but you've thrown off the Emperor's groove.
And the next time you're, say, at a football game, or in a hospital hallway, or even just in your room, pay attention to how the sound changes. It might end up being a location in your next movie.
It's the middle of the night. What are you talking about?
Come on, you got a surprise for you. Come on, hurry up. Gotta get out of here.
You're tugging me too hard.
Now, animation is a time-consuming process, and so much work goes into the character design, the storyboarding, the backgrounds, and especially the animation itself, that a lot of independent filmmakers tend to kind of phone it in when it comes to sound design. And that's a real shame, because a soundscape can really make or break a cartoon. Nothing pulls you out of a movie faster than subpar sound.
Pepper, you sprinkled pepper on the cake. You nasty tomcat, you.
Conversely, good audio can often make a low-budget animation seem a lot more professional and immersive. Above all else, remember that when you're making an animated movie, you're not just an artist, you're a filmmaker, and film is both a visual and an oral medium. So use your animation to set your fictional world in motion, but don't forget to use sound to bring it to life.